Okay. No more interruptions. At least until I'm done with the story. I promise. Unless someone like subs or anything or follows, then I'm gonna thank them, obviously. I don't want to be an asshole. So, me and Mal, we used to do a shit ton of urban exploring. We used to do an absolute fuck ton of urban exploring. We did so much. My downtown area, when I was still living in Somerville, that actually is the name of my, that's actually the name of my hometown when I was growing up, is Somerville. I grew up in Somerville, South Carolina. It's like right in the heart of fucking South Carolina. I loved it. Especially when it was smaller, it used to be great. But in our downtown area, which was give or take about a 45-ish minute drive, about 30 minute drive away, there is a lot of buildings. And there are so many buildings that date back to way before. There's so much history in my downtown area that they basically refuse to tear down the buildings because of how much history there was. Like there's buildings there still, like 1400, 1500, 1600 back. Like there was so much. Now, because of how much history there was, me and Mal absolutely loved exploring these places. We did. Even to this day, I still love urban exploring. I watch videos of it all the time. If I had the chance to go back and, go check shit like that, like I would do it again 100%. I loved it so much. And none of the places were ever actually haunted. None of the places were ever actually, like we didn't find anything, we didn't see anything. It was a fun little hobby that we enjoyed doing. Now, what actually started making me become a believer? There was one particular time we had gone to an old hospital that was actually built, I believe it was 1600s. I honestly could not give you a date. I honestly didn't look much up on it. But we went into this hospital, and the way that the hospital was set up was you had the first part of the hospital. You walked in, it was one building. Now, if you walked through the building, there was a back exit that led you into a courtyard, and it was completely fenced in. It was a completely fenced in courtyard with a fountain right in the middle for anybody visiting. And then there was a second building right behind it. Now, me and him go in. Not gonna say the actual term because, Twitch, TOS and shit. But we go in, and the first thing we see is something that actually should have put us off. It should have completely thrown us off, but it didn't. We just completely ignored it. In most places that have been abandoned for a long time, I'm sure you guys have seen plenty, there is usually trash, shit everywhere. You can see, places where homeless people had sheltered up because they didn't have anywhere to stay. You see graffiti on the walls. You see everything of people having been there before. There was hardly anything. There was barely any graffiti on the walls, maybe a couple sentences. There was hardly anything there. Me and him go through the first building, and we hear some noises. We just hear some rustling, and we're like, it's an old fucking building. Like, I don't know. Like, it's an old building. Like, we're gonna hear shit. Now, the entire building straight up looked like it had just been left. Like, everybody had picked up their shit one day and left and just never came to work. So me and him go through. We don't find anything interesting. We're just kind of checking the place out. We go through the courtyard and we go into the second building. Now, I really don't know what it is. Like, I don't know how they had shit set up back then, but on the third floor specifically, how the third floor was set up is it was stairs. You had stairs that, you know, you spiraled up. It was a multi-layered building. Now, on the third floor was where they kept, apparently, the bodies of people that died before they got sent to the morgue to, you know, get all their shit and whatever taken care of before they did whatever, funerals, that's what I'm talking about. Now Mal, being the absolute fucking dumbass that he is, decides to start opening the fucking cold storage. One by one, he is opening cold storage, opening, checking to see if there's anything. And there are still bodies left in the cold storage. Bodies that had not been recovered. They were just left. And I don't know if you guys can see, I still get fucking goosebumps telling this fucking story. I do. So he basically, at this point, is searching the bodies for anything valuable. Because he's a fucking idiot and a fucking moron. Even though I don't believe in this shit, I respected the dead. I left it alone. I completely I was like, I'm not interested. I don't want to do this. I just want to check the place out and go. He touched it. I don't know if I have chat up on this. I'll add chat again later for you guys so you guys can like see your own messages and shit, but we'll get to that later. He's touching the bodies. He's literally basically ransacking the bodies looking for anything valuable. The entire cold storage is basically a U-shape. It literally goes up the stairs, you have the cold storage, it goes down the corridor, you make like a left or a right depending on which way you came up from, and then it comes back around to the stairs. We go up, and we're walking down the corridor. He's still throwing open fucking containers, ransacking bodies, looking through shit. And at the very end of the corridor, I see come around the corner this giant black fucking mass. I can't even describe what it literally just looked like. It looked like fog if you couldn't see through it. That's what it looked like. It looked like fog if you couldn't see through it. And there's no facial features. It's floating. There's no arms. There's no legs. There's no neck. There's no head. There's nothing. But I can feel it staring at me. I don't know how, but I could literally feel it staring at me. And Mal hasn't even noticed it at this point. He's still messing with shit. I am like, I'm smacking him. I'm like, dude, we have to fucking leave now. We have to go. And he, still not realizing it, still not seeing it, is like, what? You're just a fucking pussy, man? Come on. It's just a bunch of fucking dead bodies. Like, what's gonna happen to us? Like, really, nobody's been here for so long, this, that, and the other. He's fucking messing with me. I grab his shoulders and I spin him around. And he's staring at it. And he goes to say the words, "Oh shit." He gets about, "Oh shit," before it lets out the most blood-curdling fucking scream I have ever heard in my goddamn life. I have tried to find anything that even resembles what it sounded like. It didn't sound human. It didn't sound like an animal. It literally sounded like just a compilement of voices all together from high to low, just everything screaming at the same time. And it starts bum rushing us. It is barreling down the fucking corridor. Me and him, without skipping a fucking beat, without saying anything, we turn around and we fucking hightail it. Now, we end up getting out. Mind you, as we're running down the corridor, it is throwing open the cold storage containers. Like, we can hear the shit opening. Like, being thrown open, smashed against the fucking metal as it's running towards us. And we are fucking terrified. We are scared shitless. We make it out into the courtyard. And we turn around. And it is standing. I say standing, floating. I just say standing because, like, it's the best thing that my fucking feeble mind can think of. It is standing at the door, just looking at us. Now, the way that the fucking fence was, we couldn't climb over the fucking fence. It was literally metal fence, probably about 8 feet tall, so people couldn't climb out. And it was small. There was no way we were fitting through that. So we still have to make it through the first part of this hospital before we can get out. Because, I mean, if we call anybody, if we call the fucking cops, we're not supposed to be here. Like, we're gonna get in trouble, and they're gonna look at us like we're fucking crazy, and they're gonna chuck us in the loony bin. So we still have to make it through the first part of the hospital, the first building. Take a second, and we catch our breath. Now, I've always been a bigger guy. As you can see, I am a bigger guy. I have always been a bigger guy, no matter what, even younger. Me and him start sprinting through the fucking first part of the building. He goes one way, I go the other, so that way we don't catch out each other at all. He makes it out before I do. Like I said, I'm a bigger guy. I don't run that fast. This is probably the fastest I have ever ran in my life, and he still managed to get out before I did. I've always been a bigger guy. I get to the front door. The front door, and I feel something to my left fucking smack me in the side, and I am sent flying down the fucking hallway. I get up, I turn around, there's nothing there. I wish I could tell you there was something there, honestly, because it still doesn't make sense to me. There's nothing. So I get up, and I ran, going to the exit. I make it to the exit. I have about a foot out the door. And I feel 2 hands grab me on my shoulders like this, hold me back for just a split second, and whisper in my ear the words, "Do not let him come back," and shove me out the front door. I have never in my entire life been that fucking terrified. That was the single most terrifying experience I have ever had in my entire goddamn life. It was fucking horrifying. But I refused to go back. Me and Mal, to this day, refuse to talk to each other about it. We literally refuse. Like, I tried talking to him about it a couple of times since then. And he just goes, oh yeah, that. Nope. So needless to say, I took a couple of years off of urban exploring. And I tried to settle it in my mind, and I still have not. Still to this day, I wonder what the hell it was. I wonder why it let me go. Because it could have had me.